word now. And if you want me to go backwards and review the last few from last time, we could do that. All right.
Nah, I'll schedule time with you
That's
to do it
perfect.
privately.
All right. So now we're at 2. Im tiftach et sha'arei hamakom. There's a comma. We're gonna take just a little bit of time. Im tiftach et sha'arei hamakom. So im means if. Tiftach. So the tav is your marker about who's doing the, what's patach mean? What's the root patach?
Open.
Open. So if I have a tiftach, who is doing the opening?
If you,
She? No.
It's either ata or he. It can be one or the other. It's gloriously ambiguous. Im tiftach, if she will open, or im tiftach, im ata will open, if you will open, et sha'arei hamakom. Sha'arei hamakom. What's sha'arei hamakom? Well, let's look at this. I want to show you some really obvious markers. The A ending, yay, I found an A. If I have an A ending, it means that this word, whatever it is plural, and it's possessed by the next word. Sha'arei, we already know what sha'ar is. We had that previously. So sha'ar is gate. Sha'arei means gates of. Sha'arei means gates of. And I look for those A's. Those are really good markers about the fact that we've got something possessed going on. My other marker here is that there's a the ha, and the ha is only on the word after the possessed thing. So sha'arei hamakom, the possessor, the gates of the place. So I know that I have what I like to call, they call it a word pair. I like to call it a possessed word. It's a smichut. It's called smichut, which is a possessed state. Sha'arei hamakom means the gates of the place. So im tiftach et sha'arei hamakom. So it's either if you will open the gates of the place, or if she will open the gates of the place. Do you want to make a guess which one it is?
I think you.
It's probably you, because 98% of the time, probably even more, it's talking about masculines in the Torah, not feminines in the Torah. So it's probably a good guess.
Well, and they're talking about the gates of the place, and usually men open gates.
If you say so.
In the Torah,
Fighting words.
Toractically speaking, not anything else.
Practically?
Yeah.
That sounds like Jurassically.
Yeah.
All right. Az tira, we're presuming it's an ata and not a he, but I'm just saying it is ambiguous. Az tira, then you will see. Tira from Resh Aleph He. The tav ending means either ata or he again. Then ata tira, az tira, then you will see. Et pnei ha'anashim, and I am pointing out that this is spelled incorrectly. You're going to need a kamatz under there. The faces of the people. There is no such thing as one face of the people. It could be that it's saying in English, you may want to say the face of the people, but there is no such thing as one face. So translate it as you wish. You will see the faces of the people. And by the way, there's that A again, the A showing that whatever this word is plural, and it's possessed by the next thing, the faces of the people. And I'm also going to remind you that we've now seen two situations here where we have the possessive form, the smichut form, and the second word has a ha. This book likes to translate the whole thing as both of them having ha, the gates of the place and the faces of the people. But I will remind you every time we see it just about, there is no way to say faces of the people, and there's no way to say the faces of people or men. There's no way of bless you, Labriut. There's no way of doing that, Labriut. There's no way of, do it again? Okay. There's no way of doing that, so it doesn't matter how you're doing it. Obviously, in Hebrew, most of the time it's not going to matter if part of it is definite, if all of it is definite. But the book recommends you do the whole thing as definite. Asher yashvu sham, who dwelt there. Asher yashvu sham, who dwelt there. So, im tiftach, if you will open, et sha'arei hamakom, the gates of the place, az tireh, then you will see, et pnei ha'anashim, the faces of the people, asher yashvu sham, who were sitting. That's a past tense, asher yashvu sham. So how do I know that's a past tense when this yud, and this yud means he will, how do I know that that's a past tense and not a he will marker? How do I know it's not future tense? And the answer is that u ending is not a future tense. Actually, take it back. Take it back, Jana. Take it back. We're taking that back. The u ending is a past tense marker. And it is also a future tense marker in the they form. But in this case, it's a past tense because of that kamatz there. It's a past tense form. Asher yashvu sham. This is the paradigm for past tense. The three root letters, the kamatz in the first place and the u in the last place. David, yikach. David will take. We have a yud again. What's the root for take? What are the three root letters for take?
Lamed Kuf Chet.
Exactly, it's Lamed Kuf Chet. So where's my Lamed? Funny you should ask that.
In the Dagesh, right? Isn't the Lamed goes away and it turns into the Dagesh?
Yes, that too, but it's also, remember we said, you know what I really don't understand? Tell me something about those drop letter words. Well, so this is a letter that's dropping, and it often, and so it's a drop letter. David yikach, David will take. And my point about the drop letters is that you may have the kind of brain where you like to know the rules first and then apply the rules. I am going to suggest that for something like this, especially if you're talking biblical Hebrew instead of talking conversational Hebrew, if you see yikach and you know that that's lakach, you know it means will take, then you don't have to worry about what the rules are about when it's going to drop letter, if it's going to drop letter. You just have to recognize the verb. I'm not trying to be mean or ugly about not recognizing or not knowing the rules about drop letters. I'm trying to be helpful and kind. But you already knew that was lakach, whether you defined it as a drop letter or not. So David yikach, David will take, et yedei root. So this is a yud at the beginning, but it's not a verb. And I have my a ending, which means that this is a plural word that's possessed by the next thing. Yedei, root, means yad, hands of, root. So this is David will take the hands of Ruth, or Ruth's hands, or however you want to translate it. And why did I say the hands of Ruth when there's no ha here? Because there's never going to be a ha you're not going to have a ha on a proper noun, on the name, on a person's name. But the book is suggesting that if this word, the second word in the possessed grouping, is definite, then they suggest you make the whole thing definite. So it's the hands of Ruth, even though there's no the anywhere. It's a possibility. Yishma et kol Ruth va'az yomar. Yishma. If David will take the hands of Ruth, he will hear et kol Ruth, the voice of Ruth. Same thing here where I'm saying the voice because it's Ruth, the voice of Ruth. Va'az yomar, and then he will say, Yadati et nefesh ha'isha. I knew the soul of the woman. Yadati et nefesh ha'isha. Maybe I knew the spirit of the soul, yadati, the T ending. And we're shifting gears because they're giving it to us in a dramatic form by saying these things will happen. And then there's a quote, I knew et nefesh, I knew the soul, the spirit of the woman, ha'isha. And this is a kamatz before ha'isha because it's a guttural letter. I can't have a patach before it because I can't put a dagesh in the aleph. We good? Anybody? I mean, I'm trying to anticipate kinds of questions you can have. All right, next one. Yes? Anshe Mitzrayim.
The women of Egypt.
Close. It's not women. Women would be just nishe. Anshe means the men. That's a tricky one. Anashim is men or people. Nashim is women. Anshe is the aleph at the beginning, means it's men or people. Mitzrayim, the men or the people of Egypt. Yikhu, they will take. You notice that it's an E and not an A. Yikhu. And we have a drop letter. There's a lakach here again. Yikhu, they will take. Et habanot, the banot,
Dot.
daughters. Et habanot, even though it's not bat in there anywhere. Et habanot, the daughters. Li Rushalayim. Ooh, this is such a fun one to look at these vowels. Those vowels are going to mess somebody up. Look at how, I mean, we know already why there's a dot under the final mem. Because the word is Yerushalayim, and everybody's going to pronounce it that way, and everybody apparently always had. But there's not enough consonant. There are not enough consonants for it to be Yerushalayim. There's only enough consonants for it to be Yerushalem or something. So in order for it to be ayim, they're fudging, and they're putting a dot under that. You may or may not remember that from when we first learned that word. In modern Hebrew, it is spelled with a yud in there so that you have enough consonants to make it be Yerushalayim. But that doesn't say Yerushalayim. That says Li Rushalayim. Why does it say Li Rushalayim? We answered this one yesterday during the prayer book class. Why does it say Li Rushalayim instead of Yerushalayim? And the answer is this. I'm going to write it for you here. Does somebody want to help?
It means two, right?
So what's supposed to happen here is we're supposed to see a really big L, and then we're supposed to see a Y, because Yerushalayim starts with that. But then what happens is, because I have two moving shvas together, and because the word begins with a yud with a shva under it. It's only yud with shva under it, but because I have a yud with a shva under it, which is a kind of a weak consonant, I take out this shva, and I take out that bottom part of the shva, and the yud becomes part of the vowel for the two. This is all one big happy vowel now. So it's Li Rushalayim. So from Yerushalayim to L Yerushalayim, it becomes Li Rushalayim. I can't have L Y because it's two moving shvas. The definition of a moving shva, of what's called a mobile shva or a shva na, the definition of that is the shva at the beginning of a word or syllable. So when it was Yerushalayim, it was at the beginning of the word or syllable. Now that I added a new beginning of a word or syllable, it can't be the beginning of the word or syllable anymore. And so therefore it can no longer be a moving shva. And so it does this tap dance, and it becomes Li Rushalayim. And it's going to be the same with any of those prefixes that start with a shva. And your words start, if you have a word that starts with a moving shva, then under a yud, then it's going to shift to Li Rushalayim, or Li, or Bi, or Ki. It's going to do that for all of them. And then we have, so Anshe Mitzrayim, the people or the men of Egypt, Yikhu, they will take, Et Habanot, the daughters, Li Rushalayim, to Jerusalem, Visham, and there, Yeshvu. So if I said Yashvu, is that what we had here? We had Yashvu up here. And then I lied to you when I said it's not going to have the U ending. Of course it's going to have an U ending. Yeshvu means they will dwell. Yashvu means they dwelt. Big difference? No. Little difference? What if I'm looking at the Torah and there's no vowels at all? How many times do I have to say gloriously ambiguous? Study your stuff. So Anshe Mitzrayim, the people of Egypt, Yikhu, they will take, Et Habanot, they will take the daughters, Li Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem, Visham, and there, Yeshvu, they will dwell, or they will sit, Al Yad, which is an idiom that means next to, it literally means on hand, Ha'etzim, they'll sit next to the trees. Ha'etzim, and why is Ha not a kamatz like this, not a kamatz with a dagesh afterwards? Because the first letter is a kamatz, and I mean the first letter is an ayin, and I can't have a dagesh and an ayin, so I make a kamatz for compensating. I'll post those again so you could see them better. I'm just saying them. It's easier when you see them. Number 5, Ezkor. Well, I have 3 root letters here. I have a zayin, a kaf, and a resh. I have an aleph, which is a marker for future tense, also known as imperfect. The aleph is for ani. Ezkor, I will remember. Et, what will I remember? Dun, 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 dun. Shemot he'arim. So this is Shemot he'arim. I'm not seeing, I have a plural word here, but it's not nearly as helpful as when it's a plural im ending word that turns into a. Shemot may change the vowel here, and may not change the vowels at all. I'm going to have to know if this is being possessed or not, and I'm telling you it's possessed. How do I know it's possessed? Because I have two words here, two nouns squished together. The second one, and only the second one, has a ha on it. But that's not a ha, that's a he. Why is that one a he? I know. Because I have ayin with a kamatz in the unaccented syllable, so the ha turns into a he. When I have an aleph with a kamatz, when I have a hey with a kamatz, a chet with a kamatz, an ayin with a kamatz in the unaccented syllable, then what comes before it is going to be he. He'arim, the cities. I will remember, ezkor, et, shemot he'arim. I will remember the names of the cities, ba'aretz, in the land, ki, because, or it can also be translated as that, echtov, the aleph is I again, only in this case the root is kaf taf vet, which means I will write. Et hashemot, I will write the names, bedam, with blood. That's a terrible sentence. We don't like this sentence. I guess maybe they thought it was appropriate just before Halloween, but they were wrong. It's never a good idea to write the names in blood. I don't know what they were thinking. I hope that they remember. All right, then we get a shorter sentence. Te da. Oops, there's a drop letter. Te da. What's that?
Yada, to know.
From yada, to know. Te da is either ata or he. Te da, ki ben David, you will know or she will know that. Ben David, or because Ben David, which means the son of David, yimloch, will rule. Ad Yemei HaShalom. Here we have an A, woot. So that means the plural of yom, day. So it's until the days of the peace, or until the days of peace, or until something like that. Got it? That was a short one. That was easier. And the truth is that you're going to recognize that root. Even if you don't see all of the letters in it, you're going to recognize it. I mean, especially now when you only have this many words. And the good news is that the words that you already know are the ones that come up at least 500 times in the Torah. So recognizing these will get you very far on any given page in the Torah. Mi yimloch bifnei David, uma yeda al hakol. Mi yimloch. Well, we like this word. We know the mem lamed kaf word. That's to rule or to reign or to be sovereign over or something. Mi is who. Who will reign? Yimloch is the yud, is the who form. Who will reign? Lifnei David, in front of or before David. Uma yeda, and what will he know? Al hakol, about everything. Mi yimloch, who will reign? Lifnei David, before David. Uma yeda, and what will he know? Al hakol, about everything. About the whole, about everything, about everything. And then the last sentence from the 9 through 12 review is Hema avru et hamayim. Hema, modern Hebrew would only be hem and not hema, but hema or hem means they. Avru. And by the way, and I think we've talked about this before, often third person is going to show some subject. Often the third person will. It's not obligated, but often it will. And in this case, it's a pronoun. Hema avru. They. Avar means to cross over, pass over. They crossed over. What did they cross over? Hamayim. Et hamayim. They crossed over the mayim, the water.
Water.
Alu hahara. Here it comes. This is the thing that Lisa's been dying for. Alu hahara. They went up. Where did they go? Look at that. Look at all those ahs. Hahara. What is it, Lisa?
To the direction of the mountains.
The directions of the mountains. So they went to the mountains, toward the mountains. That's the directive hey at the end. Hahara, to the mountains. They went up to the mountains. Dusham, they stood there. Vigam, and also asu kalei zahav. And they also made kalei zahav. Well, we have that a ending, which means utensils of, or vessels of, or instruments of, zahav, gold. And
Does
that,
that mean that they made gold utensils or that they made them of gold?
it means either way. They made the instruments of gold, or they made gold utensils, or whatever. Actually, so
Yeah.
that's a good question. This is not an adjective. It's not golden utensils. It means they made utensils of gold. Good
Which
question.
means,
Yeah, good question. Is there a difference between? I
sure,
think
you can use aluminum to make gold.
so. In this case, I think there is a difference. I think they're not saying golden utensils. They're making utensils of gold, out of gold. I think that's significant. I think you're right.
Okay,
So
but it doesn't matter, obviously.
what?
It
Well,
doesn't really matter.
it may matter, and there is a way of saying we haven't in biblical Hebrew we have not learned adjectives yet. That's supposed to be chapter 14, and we may never get to chapter 14. No, just kidding. It's supposed to be chapter 14. I think that we can potentially do like one, maybe two, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if we can do any of these reviews, but we can try. I can show you what happens next. Let's take a peek. Yatsu, that's something you can do. Yatsu is from the root to go out. So Yatsu is they left. Ha'anashim, the men, the people left. Lid darkam, this is where the tricky part is. This is where we had possessive endings. So lid darkam, anybody remember any of these? Or is this beyond where we reviewed? I don't mind not doing this. I don't mind starting next time with whatever this chapter is, chapter 13 or something. We talked about maybe going backwards a little bit. We just did a review through chapter 12. And chapter 12, we supposedly learned chapter 13 because we did do those reviews. But I think that we said chapter 13 was sentences without verbs, and chapter 12 was drop letter imperfects. So I had promised that even though we just saw them in action, that we would go back to chapter 12. And you were really good at finding them in action. But I will go over them again and give you the guidelines for them in maybe a kinder way than I did last time. So let's start with chapter 12 next time. And skip this thing. It'll be there for when we need it. And know that, let me see. Where did you see those things with the vocabularies?
The 4 through 6 scroll up. Top left there. 4 through 6 singular and plural.
Oh,
there.
the purpley things. Okay, gotcha. Practice all verbs, regular past tense, regular past tense. But where's all the ones like the nouns and stuff? Are they on there? The things that I said with the times 6 and the
No.
All right. Okay, so
I thought this was where you were trying to add them, and so I was refreshing it to see if I could find it.
no, I'm going to show you. Thank you for finding that, but
Oh.
because that was about verbs. But if you come here, and we
Yep,
know
I
that-
did find that now.
Okay. If you
It
come
wasn't
here-
showing up until you finished, though.
Yeah, because I hadn't saved it yet. So since we lost this already, since our class is over, so it disappeared, the way to find it is go to calendar. Oop, I'm not a mouse. And then find any day that has biblical Hebrew. Click on the biblical Hebrew. And I now have these kinds of links. I have vocabulary, singular and plural, vocabulary, singular and plural matching times 6, which is a way that I created a quiz for students, and what I can do is I can create it so that if you're sitting next to somebody, which we're not allowed to do for the next 100 years, I don't know when the next time we're going to be sitting next to people, you can't cheat
Wednesday.
it. Yep, you can't, right, that's true. After elections, it all goes away, poof. But so that you can't cheat off of people that you're sitting next to. Sorry. Either that or the Chinese are coming in to take over. Did you hear that? Their military are coming in. Either the Chinese military are coming in to take over. If Trump wins, I think, the Chinese military, or if Trump loses, I don't remember. These things don't make any sense to me as it is. All right. Vocabulary, singular and plural is, you can print them out if you want, but what this is a matching. So here's av, and you want to find the plural of av, which is avot, and it's going to be on here somewhere. Where did you see avot somewhere? Dun. Please tell me it's there somewhere. I don't see avot. Oh, that's really fun.
I think you just scrolled past it.
Here's one. I went, yeah, so here's, so you're going to look for the plural of on the other side and blah, blah, blah. So you're going to try to find, this is a matching thing. And 6 times means that you've got 6 different versions of the same vocabulary. It's not one big happy. And then we go backwards, and you should get back to the B'nai Zion Hebrew page, and you've got the vocabulary 4 through 12. You've got them in chapter order. So one version looks like this, and it's so that you can fill in the blank over here. And one version looks like this. Come on. In chapter order. No, it's the same thing. One's in chapter order, one's in alphabetical order, and that was my sophisticated way of doing this. And then you've got verbs through chapter 10, and I think that that one was the one that was posted. So this is one where all of the verbs, and can you put them in all of the forms? And it's just a working sheet for you. But I am also working on, oh, and by the way, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. Oh, that's not it. Yep, this is it. So these are alphabet things. Hold on. We can turn this and turn this again. Look at this. So I was talking about the development of the Hebrew letters and that I was going to share this. So you have 2 things here. This is, I mean, it was right side up, but this is like, if it's a nun, then there's N's all in it. That's a cute, adorable thing. But look at this. This is a development of the alphabet. This is from ancient times when it was a cryptograph. It was not hieroglyphics exactly, but it went from being an ox to being a stylized ox to being ancient kinds of, here's Phoenician, and it goes through, and then you see how it changed a little bit, and it eventually gets to something closer to, this was from the Qumran cave script. And by the way, so hold on, so 17th century, 7th century BCE, but going back to approximately somewhere around 9th century, even before. If you were looking at the a copy of the actual tablets that Moses was holding, it's going to look more like something way back here. It's not going to look like modern Hebrew script, and which is up here. And then you go through and you'll see how it kind of connects to classical Greek script and classical Latin script, and the Arabic, and it's pretty cool. I had this poster hanging up for years, a poster of this. I just love that. So just showing you that that is in the biblical, it's over here, the handout of the development of Aleph Bet and the English sounds and letters. And then the handout spelling guide has some things about vowels and digation stuff, but it didn't have the Ha rule, so I'm going to pop that up there too. So what I did was I took out the, if you're going to Biblical Hebrew, I took out all of the updates that happened from last year's class, and I just put the handouts. I just kept the handouts there, so it's easier to find, if that helps. Any questions?
Next week, chapter
12.
12.
Thank you for reminding me next week. I may not remember. I'm going to try. Next week, chapter 12. Any other
Okay.
questions for today? All right, I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to